fans, welcome back to Room 237 as I continue my marathon of Italian horror and giallo films. And since I'm wearing my Cannibal Corpse shirt, you can probably tell what kind of review this is. Yes, this is another Italian cannibal movie. And it's one that I've wanted to see for a long time. I ordered this last week at the Bull Moose store that I frequent. And it's actually from the creator of the Italian cannibal genre himself, Umberto Lenzi, and it is his 1980 film, Eaten Alive, not to be confused with Tobe Hooper's Killer Crocodile movie from '76. This is the Severin release, and this is one of two movies that I picked up today, the other one being the giallo film, Eye in the Labyrinth, which of course I will get to that. This is the Code Red release. Now, I believe this was his first, cannibal movie since his very first one, Man from Deep River, which I would love to get. I still haven't seen it. I know that's a must get. It's the one that started it all. But as of right now, I don't have it. Of course, it says on the cover, banned in 38 countries. It came out the same year as Cannibal Holocaust. In fact, I think this was filmed just prior to the release of Cannibal Holocaust. It actually stars Robert Kerman, who was a professor a Monroe from Cannibal Holocaust in a very different role. But it's also got Janet Agron, Ivan Rasimov in a very Jim Jones type of role. This is the kind of role I like seeing Ivan Rasimov in. And yes, he is Jim Jones in this. Paola Senatore, Mimi Lai, who was in Ruggero Deodato's Jungle Holocaust. And then Mel Ferrer has who I know is a big genre star. He has a couple brief appearances. But anyway, now the story is somewhat similar to Cannibal Holocaust. Also, I gotta mention the music. Now, it says original music by Buddy Maglione, but at the same time, unless that's just who he was credited under, it was actually the same person that did the music for Cannibal Ferox, whose name escapes me, and it doesn't say it right here. But, so yeah, I'm thinking that's an alias. In fact, the theme music from Cannibal Holocaust shows up on Cannibal Ferox shows up a couple times in this. And it's one of my favorite Italian themes. I would say I like the theme to Holocaust more, but I really like the main theme to Ferox. The story is somewhat similar. I mean, someone goes missing and someone goes in search of them. They get Robert Kerman to help them. They go and it becomes like a search and rescue. Only this is more of the adventure type film. It's not more like the Mondo type film that Cannibal Holocaust was. It's actually more akin to Ferox or Jungle Holocaust. It is like an escape film. Judging on how I want to say, I wasn't disappointed because I did like this movie. I did enjoy it. And a lot of the real cannibal stuff is, I mean, you get some sprinkled throughout, but it's the real juicy stuff is pushed towards the end. it's mostly a cult film. It's mostly... Here's the story. So, Janet Agren plays Sheila, who's this rich woman from Alabama. Her sister Sheila has gone missing. Or Sheila. Yeah, Sheila is Janet Agren. She's looking for her sister Diana. So Sheila enlists the help of a Vietnam deserter, Mark, played by Kerman, who they find out there's this guy named Jonas who Diana had been involved with, who is this very eccentric purification sect leader who had taken a lot of his followers out to New Guinea. So Mark and Sheila decide to go out there to find her. She offers him $20,000 to get her out there, then another $80,000 to help find her, because she's the heir to like a cotton mill in Alabama. And Jonas is played by Rasimov. And of course, this came out, 2 years after the Jonestown Massacre? 78? I believe Jonestown was 78, and it plays out just... even though nothing here says, based on Jonestown, it's very heavy that it is. I mean, Rasimov, he does great in the role. He does have this very intimidating, imposing presence. It's already a better movie than Midsommar. Yeah, I know. Automatic dislikes. I didn't like Midsommar. And while in New Guinea, there's also this cannibalistic tribe nearby. So we have this purification sect and a cannibalistic tribe. But the movie really focuses more on the sect and the cult rather than the cannibals. And this movie actually takes, I don't know if I want to say borrows or steals certain shots from Man from Deep River, which is a Lenzi film, Jungle Holocaust, and Slave of the Cannibal God, or Mountain of the Cannibal God, by Sergio Martino. And basically what those scenes are is some of the animal deaths, like the animals eating other animals, which it's a cannibal movie. We're going to get animal deaths. And there's a scene where the cannibalistic tribe members castrate one of their own. That was also filmed for Jungle Holocaust, which that set piece we see earlier in the film, and I thought that looks just like the cave, like the set from Jungle Holocaust. So go figure. And even though I said not to be confused with the Tobe Hooper Killer Crocodile film, we do have someone getting eaten by a crocodile or alligator in this. And so throughout the majority of the film, it's really in this Jonestown-esque cult in New Guinea. One of the cannibal scenes is while Mark and Sheila are trying to find their way to the cult. These tribesmen come across this random native woman. I'm going to get a little graphic here. I have to. One starts to rape her, and then when we see Mark and Sheila, they hear the screams. By the time they get there, she's already dismembered and they're eating her. I mean, from like the knee down on one leg, elbow down on one arm, her left breast, which 3 women get their left breast cut off and eaten. I will say the gore effects are awesome in this. The severed limbs, not so much. And it still does have that thick, vibrant red, almost paint blood, which I love. The blood and guts look awesome, but there is a scene later on where a character is having their, their shin and foot is taken off, and there's a cannibal eating it, and it does look hilariously fake. But, I mean, when they're really disemboweling people, the effects are really awesome. And so it shows the hold that Jonas has on his followers. Because eventually, Mark and Sheila are met up with some of Jonas's followers who take them to the compound. And when we see the new women that were recruited at the opening of the film, who were blow darted in New York and taken, including Diana, they seem to be in a trance. I don't remember if it says they were drugged or they drank something or if they're just completely brainwashed. I don't really remember. But, there's that. There's another scene where there's like there's a funeral where one of their followers had died. So the wife strips naked, and his 3 brothers each take turns having sex with her in front of everyone. While Johann Sebastian Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor plays, which is, the most iconic gothic, spooky, classical music ever. I thought that actually kind of took me out of it a little bit. If they had just used, like, the Cannibal Ferox theme again, or something like that, I thought it would have worked better. But then when Sheila starts to be recruited, there's the scene where, this is where we hear the Cannibal Ferox theme. Jonas takes a dildo, kills a snake, drains its blood all over it, and just penetrates her with it. And at one point, she even becomes really delirious and brainwashed. And then eventually, Mark is kind of held prisoner, but then this one guy lets him go. He decides to play along with being a follower until he's able to escape. He does escape with... I'm going to get into spoilers here. I don't want to give away the ending. But also, while this is going on, some people back in New York, which I think Mel Ferrer was one of them. Professor Carter. Yeah. He's able to get together a search team to go to New Guinea because he mentions to these people that there's still cannibals there. So they're en route. But so I'm going to get into spoilers starting now. But before I do, if you like cannibal films, I do think you'll enjoy this. It has, yeah, it does have the harsh animal stuff. It's not as extreme as Cannibal Holocaust or Ferox or even Jungle Holocaust. We do have some scenes where people actually are killing animals, like snakes, crocodiles or alligators, but it's mostly animals eat, what they do in the wild, eating other animals. Sometimes it's sad, like when the anaconda kills a monkey. That's kind of sad to watch. If you think you're going to get a full-on cannibal movie, then you might be a little disappointed because the cannibal aspect really does take a back seat to this film. It really is more of this Escape from Jonestown type film. Which I would have even checked that out if that was the main appeal. But, I was expecting to get, like, second tier level of most extreme cannibal movie, like right under Holocaust and Ferox. But the scenes that we did have, great gore. It had its, actually, even the rape scenes were really short. But, I mean, it was quick and to the point. So, just don't think you're going to get Cannibal Holocaust. There's more to it than that. It definitely spends more of its time with the cult. But I'm going to get into spoilers now. So, finally, when Mark, Sheila, Diana, and I don't remember her character's name, but Mimi Lai from Jungle Holocaust, they escape. Diana and Lai are actually attacked by a group of the cannibal tribesmen and, raped. They are dismembered. They both get their left breast cut off and eaten. They pass the breasts around and eat it. And of course, like every cannibal movie, they all act like zombies. They're all feral and just, as soon as they kill, they just start digging in and eating. I'm not sure which review I said this. I want to say it was Jess Franco's Cannibals. I don't expect them to eat like Hannibal Lecter, I don't expect it to be proper, but there are some movies where they are just feral zombies. Here, not as bad. They definitely seem more cynical in this one. Also, there seems to be almost like a war between the cult and the cannibals, because some of the cannibals will be brought to the compound where they'll be castrated and whatnot. Which we do get a couple castration scenes, and it shows it very quickly. One is at the compound, the other one is in like the cave that was in Jungle Holocaust. And it's actually kind of fun. It's not funny, but it is how it happens, because Mark and Sheila get separated because she falls in a tiger trap. So he helps her out, and then he comes across the tribes people eating her sister and the other girl. So he's like hiding in the bushes. So then when Sheila comes up behind him, she's like, what's going? He just turns, punches her, knocks her out. Then he watches, and then he has to drag her away. I know why he did it. He didn't want her to see, but just the way it happened, I thought it was kind of funny. And then towards the end, it's pretty much the search party comes. There's like 3 or 4 helicopters. Sheila and Mark are chased by more cannibals. They get on the helicopter, barely, but they do. Jonas starts freaking out because he thinks they're coming to take him to jail. So he has all his people drink the Kool-Aid and also, stab themselves or prick themselves with snake poison. And they all do it. It says like 70 people did it. Of course, which is not even a tenth of what happened at Jonestown. But, 900 something people. But, there's even a scene where there's this mother and her young daughter, and he yells at her to drink it, and she drops the cup and holds her daughter close, and he, it doesn't really show it, but I think he stabs the kid with the spear, or he stabs the mother. He stabs someone. But eventually, they're all dead by the time the choppers get there. And then we're back in New York, which right when we get to New York, the opening of the film, and then when we cut back, it gets to this really disco-y score. And especially at the end, when we go back to New York, it's kind of distracting. But Sheila's in the hospital, and she's told that she has to keep quiet about what happened to her sister with the cannibals, because they say for political and economical reasons they don't want to cause a panic or a stir or un-PC, and she pretty much tells them to go fuck themselves. She's going to be honest. She's going to tell people that, you know, the Stone Age is still out there. Mark is pissed because the money she owed him for helping, the $100,000, the checks bounced because she got her money from her sister, and her sister turned all her money and possessions over to Jonas, and no one knows where Jonas is. He fled. No one knows where he is. And that's the end of the movie. So, yeah, while I was a little bummed that it wasn't a full-on cannibal film, and it did have this Jonestown plot really at the center of it, I still enjoyed it. I mean, I still enjoyed Lindsay's direction. There's a bunch of decapitations, and I mean, the effects look great. The only effects that don't look great is when there's like a severed limb. That's really it. I mean, whether someone's decapitated or disemboweled, even when they open the girl's rib cage open and put sticks in it to hold it open, it looks great. It was basically just your run-of-the-mill cannibal film with this added plot that is different than Holocaust, Ferox, Jungle Holocaust. It still has the escape aspect of like Jungle Holocaust, but, you know, a whole different story than the rest of those, enough to make it stand out. And the music, other than the disco-y stuff, I really enjoyed. It was nice to hear the Ferox theme again. So yeah, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but I still very much enjoyed it. So that is Umberto Lenzi's 1980 cannibal film, Eaten Alive. And stay tuned for more Italian horror and giallo films. And thank you for watching.